Well, hello again and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm with my gorgeous, wonderful, intelligent, hard-working Walt Disney World Resort loving wife and co-host, Michelle.
Thank you, sweetie. Hi, everybody.
What's that about?
I don't know. I think we're going to be talking about a room with a view.
Oh, a room with a view. What could that have to do with? Maybe Walt Disney World Resort. We'll find out momentarily. Thank you for joining us today. We are recording this episode on Saturday, July 17th, 2021. Now, we mentioned this in last week's episode that the next couple may be recorded at not the normal Sunday times, even though we'll still be releasing them on Sundays. Well, that's because tomorrow, actually, we're heading up to the Disneyland Resort. By the way, it is the 17th of July. A very happy 66th birthday to Disneyland today.
I know. It's exciting. It's exciting that we're going to get to check it out. But yes, it's a special celebration day.
Yeah. So very happy birthday to the happiest place on earth today. 66 years. Yeah. Don't look a day over 16. Sweet 16. And we're very excited to go back up there and visit you beginning tomorrow for a couple of days, staying at the Disneyland Hotel, checking out some new things that they got going on out there, revisiting some old things. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. And, early tip is get to change with a DVC membership. You get to change your points to go to some other hotels other than the Disney Vacation Club resorts.
That's true. That's exactly what we're doing. We're staying at the Disneyland Hotel thanks to our Disney Vacation Club points. So that'll be a lot of fun checking out the new refurbishments there. We'll talk a little bit about that just before we wrap up the show. Thank you for joining us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And while you're there,
we would sure appreciate it if you sign up for our newsletter.
Please sign up for the newsletter. It is just another way to be involved in our Hyperion Adventures podcast world. You get a little bit of stuff earlier than most out there. And, we also put a lot of calls in to interact with the show, but mostly it's just another way to see what's going on in our world.
Right. And we don't share your email address with anyone.
Nope. It's just to send the email out once a week. You can also follow us on social media. Please find us on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We do have a Facebook group that we're having a great time in, posting pictures, posting stories, all sorts of fun things going on there. It's the Hyperion Adventurers Facebook group. If you want to join, there are no restrictions. We just want positive people that are looking to have a good, positive, fun Disney time in this group. Just do a search for Hyperion Adventurers Facebook group and just join right in.
Right. And if you're already a member, thank you very much. And please invite your friends to join along.
Absolutely. It's been a great time so far, and we'd love to have more members of that Hyperion Adventurers Facebook group. We are also on YouTube. Please check out some of these episodes on our YouTube channel. Just do a quick search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast, hit subscribe, and you'll know whenever we have a new video. And if you ever want to contact us, interact with us in another way for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
Right. We love hearing from you, as I say every week, and it's really a treasure when we get the emails, and we love interacting with you. And it's something that we just really encourage.
We absolutely encourage to interact with us in any way you want, whether it be on social media, whether it be through the email, whatever. We just want to interact with you more. Another great way to kind of help support the show, show your support for the show, and get some cool stuff is to go to our Patreon page. You can just go to patreon.com/Hyperion Adventures Podcast. Sign up for whatever tier you want there. And we have some great perks going out this week. We had our Hyperion Adventures Patreon page. It's a long name. Hyperion Adventures Patreon page. Disney Dishes blog recipe of the month go out to those who were in some of our higher tiers within that. And this week that recipe was a jalapeno popper mac and cheese from the Disney California Adventure Park Food and Wine Festival. And it's a great recipe. So for those of you who got a chance to get that, I hope you get a chance to make that as well.
Right. It was fun getting to be a taste tester as always with that, but that was a cool dish to try out. So Thank you for doing that.
Yes. And if you sign up for the Patreon page at the tiers that allow for the Disney recipe of the month, not only will you get those recipes, but if you sign up this week, we'll send that recipe out to you as well. So just so you're ready to go. So also another great way to support our show is just through our Spreadshirt shop. We have lots of our logos there, our hashtag Real Men Love Frozen logo shirts, which Michelle is wearing right now, as a matter of fact. So check that stuff out as well. Now, as for this week's show, but first I get to this week's show, I need to get to our newer segment, and that is our favorite thing from this week. My favorite thing from this week, and I see Michelle forgot about this, so I will go ahead and start with mine.
Maybe by the 15th time you do this, I'll remember it before the show.
And please, if you ever want to chime in with your favorite thing from this week, we would love to have them for each thing. It could be something personal. It could be something Disney related, whatever you want it to be, whatever your favorite thing is from the week, send it to us and we will add it to the show. But my favorite thing from this week was going on social media and seeing pictures and videos and everything from people aboard a Disney cruise ship. Once again, the Disney Magic is doing those 2-day staycations from out of the UK, I think they were sailing out of Liverpool. But it was just so nice to see people having a good time aboard a Disney Cruise Line ship once again.
Yeah, it was exciting. And, it just, again, like I've said this multiple times, it's just great seeing things returning, becoming more like the old norm. I know we're going to be in a new norm, but at least seeing some things returning more and more is just so encouraging and fun.
Yeah, so that was exciting, and I'm very happy for everybody who got to sail on those first cruises. For those that are coming up in future weeks, I think I saw online that I believe it's the Dream, but one of the other Disney Cruise Line ships are finally going to get a chance to do their kind of practice runs to get ready to possibly start bringing guests in again. They need to run these practice runs, show that they can sail fine, through the pandemic that we're going in, and then eventually they can start opening up to actual real live guests that come in, and we have a cruise set up for December, so we're really anxious for them to get this going.
Right, yeah. It's exciting.
It's exciting. So that was my favorite thing from this week. Michelle, I know that I've given you a little time to think about it.
I know.
What is your favorite thing from this week?
And maybe just because it's been kind of one of those weeks where there's a lot of things, one with going on at work and getting some, we're reissuing vaccines at my clinic. So getting a lot of that set up again and working through that. But so some of it's been, I guess, exciting news things that I'll put out two there that I found both kind of equally exciting. One was the announcement of the new little treat that they're going to have, or that they started, I guess, yesterday at the Disneyland Resort with the Dole Whips, in a little going with the theme of the Jungle Cruise, which is also restarting, which was also very exciting to hear about. So that was one of the things. And then the other thing is when you were able to secure a brunch reservation for us at Lamplight Lounge, which we thought was not going to happen, and you last minute were successful, and we're looking forward to that.
I made 2 more reservations today. Remember how a couple of weeks ago, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, my tip was if you don't get that dining reservation you're looking for, keep checking back. Sometimes it has to be right place, right time, because the reservations will go quickly. But if you keep checking back, you never know when someone's going to cancel a reservation. Yesterday, I was able to nab that Lamplight Lounge brunch, which was like,
I know.
That's amazing. And then today I nabbed a dinner reservation that we may be going to do, and Anoga's Cantina reservation, which is really exciting. So that was
good job.
Yeah. So and I continue to look as we prepare to get to Disneyland to try and get other ones. I'm hoping for a Blue Bayou to pop up somewhere.
Right. I know. Right.
Anyway, that's great. Good stuff. And that Jungle Cruise it's a pineapple Dole Whip split. It's what it is, served, and they say it's served in a Jungle Cruise souvenir boat. I think you can get the boat separate, so you don't have to dirty up your souvenir with the pineapple split. But it looks amazing, and it's $24.99. We looked it up, and as long as they still have some in stock, we're definitely walking home with one of those when we go to Disneyland Park on Monday.
Right, look, like you said, looking forward to that, and it just looked adorable, and it's just all the excitement about the reopening of the reimagined Jungle Cruise at Disneyland, and then the upcoming movie later in this month. Yeah. So super exciting things related to Jungle Cruise.
Super exciting things, and we can't wait to experience them all. Now, back onto this week's show. We have lots of stuff for you this week, including we received some interesting information about what to expect at the Disney parks and Disney Cruise Line this holiday season as Disney celebrated the halfway to the holidays this week. We'll talk a lot about that. There was a ton of Disney Plus content that received worthy accolades this week. We'll definitely discuss some of those. There's a new Walt Disney World ticket offer that might interest some of you who live in the Sunshine State. Yeah. And if you take advantage of that offer, there's another fun option for guests returning to the most magical place on Earth that we'll talk about. You might want to experience as well. And finally, there's a lot of stories this week, just like last week. Speaking of returning, there are some dining options that are reopening soon at the Disneyland Resort. We'll get to those as well. But let's get to our main topic of the week. Yeah, so for this week's main topic, we're back to our countdown to Walt Disney World's 50th birthday celebration. We've been doing this. This is part 4 now. We've been doing this one a month, and we're going to continue to do them one a month until we get to October 1st when Walt Disney World's birthday actually occurs. And Michelle has been giving us some great history lessons about what has taken place, how Walt Disney World came to be found, all the different elements to it, just some interesting information, facts, fun facts. Michelle always does the best research. And so we can't wait to delve into this week's episode because this is something that's close to our heart, definitely. We love staying at Walt Disney World Resorts. And I think Michelle is going to give us a little bit of a behind the scenes, or at least a look back at the development of these Walt Disney World Resorts. So Michelle, please take it away.
Well, thank you, honey. And so I'm really going to try not to make this like a history class or anything like that, but do want to share some, interesting, since it's called Room with a View, interesting views, but also some stories and fun facts, like you said, related to the Disney World Resort. And so really focusing on those resorts that were open on opening day. So the players here would be the monorail resorts located on Seven Seas Lagoon, which did not include all of them that are there now, but the Contemporary and the Polynesian. Mm-hmm. For today's episode, we also are including Fort Wilderness. That campground actually didn't open until November of 1971, but it was pretty close. And
so about a month later.
Yeah. So figured it would be an honorable mention in including it here as well. And a lot of people, obviously, who are fans of Disney World know these resorts, whether you've stayed at them or not. But, just kind of going back to a little bit of the history of them briefly. Again, this is not a history class. There is no quiz.
Oh, phew. I do not do well with quizzes, even though Michelle's research and information would help prep me very well. I know I just lock up. See.
I know. It's like when we do trivia things. It's like, oh, wait, I should be so good at this. But no. All right.
That's why you're the game show hostess with the mostest. You don't have to answer the questions. You could just send them out and torture everybody else.
I know. Goodness. Don't reveal my secrets. Anyways, starting with the Contemporary, because that's really the most iconic one there. That A-frame shape has really been, ingrained in us when we think of Disney World resorts. And hey, it's got a monorail going through it. So
cool.
Totally fun. The New York Times once described it as the best single building through which to observe the blending of technological innovation and far-out fantasy that is uniquely Disney.
Love it.
Yeah. So, it's got that open area where the monorail glides through it called the Grand Canyon Concourse. And there you can view a gigantic ceramic mural by the legendary Mary Blair. And that's on a 9-story wall. When the building first opened, there wasn't as much in that area of the building, so it was very much noticeable. I think right now that they've added some great shops and things like that, it may not stand out quite as much, but it is there. And if you haven't taken a look at that, it's something that's really cool. And at the time, Bay Lake Tower didn't exist, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay.
The other resort that was open during opening day, October 1st, 1971, was the Polynesian Resort. And that is also located on Seven Seas Lagoon. And they were really going for that South Seas feel to it. And actually, the luau was there in 1971. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, the last one that we'll talk about today is the Fort Wilderness Campgrounds. They currently have cabins as well as campsites among their 750 acres of pine and cypress trees.
It's one of our favorite spots. When we're not staying right? DVC points, it's a great location.
Yeah, so a lot of nature, animals, etc. When they first opened in 1971, as I mentioned, the cabins weren't there. It's evolved, and we'll talk about that. It's also the home to the infamous Hoop-de-Doo musical review that premiered in 1974, and the Chippendale Campfire Sing-Along with movies under the stars. And they actually had a train running through that during part of their history. So
wish they still had the train going through there.
I
know there are places, and I don't know if we've ever seen them, but I've heard that there's still places where the tracks still exist
right.
within the campgrounds.
Yeah, I think if you do, well, we've done some walking. I thought we have seen some of the track portion, but
we've been all through that resort, so maybe we have, and I just don't recall it. But
right, so it's just kind of planted there in the ground. But anyway, so. Those were the resorts. Those are the ones we're going to focus on for today. But, there's some kind of interesting things about, like you said, how this all came about, how it developed. And, one of the first things that it's whether you call it a fun fact or just an interesting concept, but if you think about it, the Disney company was not into having hotels back then. Even though the Disneyland Hotel existed, it was not owned by the Disney company. It wasn't owned and run by the Disney company. So this was really their first time delving into it. So what they did was they leased the Hilton Inn in Orlando in May of 1970, and then there was 140 rooms there, and used that kind of like their laboratory to really develop what they wanted to present in terms of the guest experience, how to deal with all the support services that you need there with housekeeping and engineering. So it's kind of where they started their training manuals and training staff to be able to work in their own resorts.
Makes sense, and not really surprising for Disney. I mean, I know they did that for Disney, before they did Disney Cruise Line with the big red boat. That They kind of took over some floors of that ship to kind of prep and know what to expect when they decided to actually go full-fledged into the cruise industry and start it. So yeah, obviously the kind of the same concept going on there. Yeah,
good point. So another fun fact: where can you find a volcano?
I'm going to guess that's the Polynesian Village Resort.
You are correct. It can be found at their lava pool. It's called Nania, which is a Hawaiian word for relaxing.
The relaxing volcano.
The relaxing volcano.
Yes. Volcanoes. So relaxing.
Another really interesting thing, especially when we're talking about the Polynesian, is the fact that they began construction in February of 1971. So yes, 8 months before opening is when they began their construction. That's pretty amazing. I don't think we'd ever see something like that happen again. A hotel of that size and all that it offers to go
that's
be developed that quickly is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's not quite on par with Disneyland being opened in 1 year's time, but
Right.
That's pretty amazing that they were able to get this really nice resort built within such a short duration.
So pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
As it developed over the years, it was one of the places that did add DVC rooms and bungalows, which we're going to talk about in a little while too. And now more recently, they've geared up some changes in time for the 50th anniversary. And that's, obviously we've seen some of the new theming of the rooms to go with Moana. But the entryway will also have a high-pitched open truss roof covered in thatch style, and really bringing in that lush, airy ambiance that, that you would want to associate with the Polynesian resort.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm looking forward to seeing once it all gets completely done. We were there a few months back, and is still in the midst of construction.
Right.
It still is in the midst of construction, but and so we could see some things starting to take shape, but still far from completion. So looking forward to seeing the finished product once it opens up here in just a few months. Yeah.
Right, and seeing some of those new Moana rooms.
Yes, definitely.
Very cool. All right, so now let's go back to the contemporary.
Okay.
And some of the things that have happened over the years with that.
Back across the lagoon.
Did you know that where the California Grill is located, it was originally a dinner dancing establishment known as Top of the World Restaurant.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know there's another Top of the World.
I know.
But that's a lounge, not a restaurant.
Right.
And I may have done some dancing up there, but I don't think they regularly do a lot of dancing up there. Yeah.
No. So when it first opened, that Top of the World restaurant was really considered like a happening place. And it would host stars, and, it was kind of the place to be seen. And that was like that for about a decade. And then it converted to another restaurant theming, and it had a show called Broadway at the Top, and it was a dinner show that would have singers and dancers performing Broadway tunes, and and that lasted also about another decade. And then it changed into the California Grill that's there now.
Nice.
So it is located at the 15th floor, which has those impressive views of Walt Disney World, Magic Kingdom. And as you mentioned, the only other place that has a similar view is the Top of the World Lounge on top of Bay Lake Tower.
Right. Yeah, which we've done many times. We've never done, well, I don't know. Have you done the California Grill? I've never done the California Grill, but I was wondering if you've done it at some point.
I've done it, yes, but as one of these prior. I actually saw the dinner show.
Oh, which one did you see?
The Broadway, yeah, the Broadway.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that sounds, that would have been, that's
not
right up my alley.
Not at the opening, but yeah.
Well, yeah, that's right up my alley. That sounds like that would have been a lot of fun to check out. So.
Yeah. So I think that was in the 90s that it changed, the early 90s. So some of you who've known Walt Disney World for quite a while may remember that there was 2 garden wings, one on each side of the A-frame main building. But one of those was removed for DVC's Bay Lake Tower, which is lovingly referred to as BLT, which I love.
I want a BLT.
Yeah. That other garden view building does still exist, and we'll talk about some of that when we talk about some of the views and some of the reviews that we have for it. But one of them was completely removed, and this ginormous tower was put into place. And I remember when it was first being built thinking, oh no, that was just such a beautiful, peaceful little building, and wondering what were they thinking. But again, love the BLT.
Yes. Now we are, that is our spot. We
Yes.
If we can, we try, when we start looking for places to stay,
Right.
Usually we start at BLT and then move out from there because we love those rooms. We
Right.
love that location and the views. Talk about rooms with views, the
Right.
lake views. If you prefer the park views, those are stunning as well. It's all great.
Exactly. So, obviously the rooms there have gone through several different types of theming, all somewhat revolving around contemporary. Some maybe more space age, but the most recent conversions now is going with the theme of Incredibles, and it does seem to really fit into the theming of the contemporary resort.
Yeah, I thought so. I when I saw them, I thought, because they are there, but they don't smack you in the face. They're they're
Right.
there. You see them. You can appreciate it, and you know what they are. But it's not like shouting. There's not like a giant Mr. Incredible right everywhere you go or something.
Darn.
I thought that they did a pretty good job of retheming those
Right.
rooms, and I was impressed with them. And although we will stay at Bay Lake Towers
Right.
mostly, I wouldn't mind going in there and checking out those rooms at some point.
Sure, definitely. So, all right, and the other one of the trios that we're talking about is Fort Wilderness, and that has gone through some massive changes. As we mentioned, when it first opened, being a campsite, and then later on adding the cabins. I think they were originally called Wilderness Homes. I don't know if anybody still calls them that, but
I will from now on.
there you go. And I mentioned the train. We talked about the train being there for a couple years. In those cabins, so you can find some artwork that shows the train. So it's cute how they have that nod to some of its own history. So that's pretty cool. But talking about the camping, I mean, that was Disney's way to add glamping for those guests who really wanted to enjoy the outdoor, maybe the more serene kind of after parks time frame, or between going to the parks experiences and being in the outdoor, but really have that full service experience of a hotel.
Right. I like the thing. One of the things I like about that place is that it gives you those options. If you want to, go and just, put up a tent, or even just
Right.
roll out a sleeping bag and sleep on the ground. They have lots that you can do that within. They have other places where you can hook up a full RV or a trailer or whatever and do it that way.
Right.
Or if you want to go full scale and go into these cabins, which are trailers, but they're really decked out nicely. They're stylized well.
Right.
They're basically 1-bedroom suites with not quite a full kitchen, but bigger than a kitchenette.
Right.
You have all sorts of different options there, and that's why we love that place so
Right.
much.
Yeah. And actually, I've had the experience of doing all the types of campings that you've just mentioned, with the exception of just being under the stars, but tent camping and also having a camper out there. The funniest thing to me was the first time we took a camper through there. You actually do your check-in inside, whether it's your truck or whatever, if your camper has the driving inside as part of the camper itself. You don't get out. You don't have to park and go into the main building to check in. You can stay right there, and they'll come right up to your truck or whatever to check you in. And I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, I've seen that spot many times, seen the RVs and whatever
Right.
pulling up to it. And it looks really cool to do. We are not an RV family, but I do think it's fascinating.
Exactly.
And interesting. And there's a lot of people make their vacations out of it. They have that RV, and, we've seen it. We've talked about it many times on this show, how they come down for the holidays and fully celebrate,
Right.
deck out their areas for Christmas. And that is what they do every single year, or Halloween, or whatever it may be.
Right.
Just recently, 4th of July, I
Yep.
saw online that they had the parade. They returned to the parade
Yes.
of golf carts, all decked out with all sorts of different stuff. They do those a lot of times where they get groups of people together with golf carts. Some have their own golf carts. Some rent them. They deck them out all to some certain theme. We've seen princesses,
Right.
all sorts of different things. And then they just parade throughout the campground, and it's so fun.
Amazing. It
Yeah.
really is. And somebody will usually have some kind of music to really make it so lively, so fun. And people are amazingly incredible and talented with how they deck out their those golf carts. So definitely something fun to experience if you're ever out there. So.
Right, for sure. There's so many things about the camp. Again, obviously, we talked about it many times. We love the campgrounds. It's little things like that. They're the reasons why we love
Right.
them so much. Yeah.
Yeah. So just a few other little kind of miscellaneous fun facts. The Seven Seas Lagoon is home to 3 small islands, which I wasn't really aware of. There's Blackbeard Island, Castaway Key, and Beachcomber Island. And historically, Castaway Key has been the launching point for perimeter fireworks from for the Magic Kingdom Park.
Interesting.
Yeah. The electrical water pageant started very close to opening day. It was October 26, 1971. And there was something that you made a comment recently about your observations of the theming of those 3 resorts.
Just those 3 or all of them?
Well, mainly those 3.
Well, my comment on it was that this may be obvious to some people, but it just kind of sprung to my mind thinking about these different resorts throughout there, and that how they are laid out very much like the Magic Kingdom themselves, that they're virtually, different, associated with different lands. You look at the Contemporary, and that's basically kind of Tomorrowland.
Right.
You look at the Polynesian, and that's Adventureland. And if you look at Fort Wilderness or the Wilderness Lodge now, that is kind of Frontierland.
Right.
And if you want to say that now with the Grand Floridian over there as well, maybe that's Fantasyland.
True.
So they just kind of the way they built these. And I'm sure they must have thought this out. I can't be the only one who's come to this conclusion. That it's just, I think it's interesting that since these are all Magic Kingdom, resorts, that they kind of laid them out like the Magic Kingdom itself.
Right. Interestingly, when you said that, I tried to research it and I did not find anything like that. So maybe it's just not published out there, or maybe you're just brilliant that you came up with that idea of how that they are synchronized with the theming of some of the lands.
Or maybe I'm just overthinking things like I normally do.
No, I actually think it's awesome. So we couldn't finish up this program, Room with a View, without actually talking about the views from these rooms, from these resorts. And so, we've had personal experiences with these, and, so we did want to give you some feedback from what our experiences were. And we'd love hearing if you've stayed at any of these resorts and have some experiences you'd love to share. We definitely would want to mention them on other episodes.
Yeah, sure. Let us know what your favorites are, what your favorite views are from these, and we will definitely share them for sure.
Right. So let's start with, as we already mentioned, our favorite, which is the Contemporary, because it does also include Bay Lake Tower, but going with the different types of views. So if you haven't stayed there and you're trying to consider what is it that you want to look at, it's all, building based is kind of where the direction of this resort goes when you're trying to decide. So the small, like 3-story buildings in the back is considered the garden wing, garden view. And that really has like really beautiful grounds, very peaceful in its own right. If you get a view of Bay Lake Tower, that's lovely as well. It can really be like one of those peaceful spots you go to, whether it's in the middle of the day just to kind of regroup before going back to the park at night, or just at the end of your visit to the park and just want to have some, quietness. It's not as, in the hubbub of everything else related to the resort. So that if you're looking for that peaceful little oasis, that garden view rooms are the best for that.
Seems like you have some nice views of Bay Lake there, and kind of the boats going through and everything from that spot. And yeah, it almost feels, we don't get over there very often, but it almost feels like it's almost a separate thing from the Contemporary itself. It just is off in this little nook nearby, but it's right there to access anything that you want around the Contemporary for sure.
Right. I remember one of my favorite times, I was actually at a training seminar, and it was just really nice at the end of the day where you felt like your head was going to explode with information, to go sit on the balcony and just look outside and have that peacefulness to experience.
Very cool.
Yeah. So there's also like lake views, which are also located in the main building, and as well as in Bay Lake Tower, all having, somewhat similar perspectives of looking out at Bay Lake. And like we mentioned, it's kind of really one of our favorite, you really won't be disappointed if you have a lake view.
No, we love the lake view. We prefer the lake view personally. We like the peace of it and being able to look out and watch the boats go by, watch the electrical water pageant at night, and just kind of people watch in some ways from out there, because we get to see different people going to boats or people going to the pool or whatever, or when they do have the fireworks cruises, the pirates going out every night, the pirate firework cruise. Hopefully that's going to return someday. That's always fun to watch everything that goes on with that as they lead them out go watch the fireworks and then come back. But we just enjoy that view very much.
Definitely. And different, parts, whether you're in the Garden View wing, whether you're in the main building or Bay Lake Tower, those lake views have different experiences. Like you're saying, you could see the electrical pageant, but with some rooms you get to see pool area, others you don't, so there's some with the Bay Lake Tower that you really just see nature and the water, and you're not as close to some of the inner parts of the resort where you're seeing a lot more activities going on. But you're not going to be disappointed with those views.
One of our favorite nature things that had ever happened when we're sitting there is watching this big turtle go chasing around these ducks for whatever reason. He wasn't happy that the ducks were in his area, but he was like chasing. I mean, obviously that's a high-speed chase with the turtle, but it was just this weirdest thing. It's like these ducks are just running away. The turtle's like, I'm getting you out of here. Don't wait for it. It was just, it sounds silly, but it was funny for us at the time.
It was just fun to just, like I said, you're just sitting there relaxing. You're seeing nature. No ducks were injured. It was just kind of funny how the turtle was just kind of like nudging them to get out of here. Get off my lawn.
Yeah, exactly. You're in my spot. Get out of here, ducks.
So no, that's true. And the other fun thing we experienced several weeks ago when we were there is with the electrical water pageant, something that we had never experienced before when we've watched that is the finale, how each night when we saw it, people were cheering like crazy, and maybe now that the fireworks shows are back, that might not have that same level of enthusiasm at the end of it, but I think it was because at the time there wasn't any fireworks.
Right. It hadn't been back for that long because it took a while for that to even come back. And then it had reappeared. And there weren't any nighttime spectaculars going on. Many of the parks were closing early still. So I think more people were in their room and they were just happy to have some sort of extra entertainment. And if you've seen the magic or the electric water pageant, you know that it's okay. It's nostalgic and kind of cute, but it's nothing like, super special and fantastic. It's not this amazing show. So hearing this, roar of applause for it as it would pass by for these spots was interesting to say the least. Yes. But like I said, I think everybody was just so happy to have something like that back and was starved for that kind of entertainment. And I think it was really nice to see.
I think you're absolutely correct on that. So, and then the last view that we'll really focus on here is the theme park view for the Contemporary or Bay Lake Towers too. From those rooms, it's kind of like the front portion of the main building. Starting in the main building, it starts like on the 6th floor. Obviously, they tend to be the most expensive rooms. I've actually had the privilege to be able to stay there a couple times. They do face the Magic Kingdom and overlook Seven Seas Lagoon, and the parking lot. So as long as you don't look down.
Yes. If you can kind of shield, just put your hand right above your eye or below your eyes and just kind of look straight out, you're good. All you see is theme park.
Right. Exactly. So,
And it's great.
I know.
Amazing.
Not trying to, put it down, but it is kind of funny because, in most cases it would have been considered a parking lot view. And I think they only call the parking lot views the ones that are much lower floors so that you're really not seeing much of the Magic Kingdom. But
I mean, the really nice thing about it is now that fireworks are back, you can watch the fireworks from your own balcony there when you have the theme park view. And that's really cool.
Right.
You don't have to go to a certain location to watch them, or you don't have to be in the park. I mean, obviously you don't get as much of the now that they have the projections and everything, you don't
Right.
see if you get a good room, you can see some of that, and they do pipe in the music through the television, so you can hear the whole thing. But it's just nice to have that opportunity where you, at the end of the night, if you don't want to go rush out back to the park to go see the fireworks, that you have that right there in front of you.
Right. During the daytime, you can usually spot like Space Mountain and Cinderella's Castle. Keep in mind, though, as much as like it seems like they're very close, the resort and the Magic Kingdom, they aren't super duper close. So, we don't want to put out there, if somebody hasn't gone and they're looking forward to this, that it's something that you're super duper close to. It is fun. Those are great views. They're sought after views, but we just didn't want anybody's expectations to be set too high. It's not like you're right inside the park itself.
No, I mean, you're fairly close. I mean, it's within walking distance from the Contemporary and Bay Lake Towers, and now from the Grand Floridian, they have that walking path as well. Right. It's a little bit longer walk on that side than the other one, but it's still not. You still have to do a little bit. It's hoofing. You're not like walking out the door and then you're walking right into the Magic Kingdom.
So. All right, and then the other monorail resort that was open then was the Polynesian. We've stayed there. In fact, a more recent stay was at the Polynesian in a DVC room. Mm-hmm. With that view that we had was a I guess they call it fireworks view or park view. They weren't running the fireworks at the time, but we could. You could definitely now that they are, you could.
Oh, it'd be
see
great
that.
for the fireworks.
Right.
Where we were. Yeah.
It's the closest building to the bungalows, which we've actually gone in and viewed the bungalows. They're lovely.
They are.
They really are. When we've looked at different 2-bedroom or above rooms at Walt Disney World, we like those. I had they're really pretty, but most of the other ones, they seem like they are more convenient for like in the kitchen area, the dining area, things like that. At least that was my impression of it. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. Especially for the amount of points it takes to get those for DVC points or dollars if you're going to actually purchase them. The cool thing about them is they're right on the water. Right. They're over water. You have this view of just the lake. There's nothing in front of you, and lake straight to theme park, straight to fireworks. It's gorgeous. But inside it felt kind of, it was okay. The cabins over at Wilderness Lodge. Now you don't get you get some nice views, but you don't get the fireworks views out of those.
Right.
But those, maybe because of the fact that they know you're going to spend more time outside, you're over water or whatever with the cabanas, that they decided to just go ahead and keep them not go as far on the inside, whereas at the other place at the cabins, they're like, you're going to enjoy the cabins.
Yes.
So they went all out to theme it and make them really, really special.
Right. So where the bungalows are, if you do decide to stay there, and again, not a bad thing, just in comparison to some of the other 2 and 3 bedrooms.
And this was our personal preference.
Right. Because we've seen other 2 and 3 bedrooms also at Walt Disney World. I think we would rank this one not at, more at the lower end of our favorites. But again, not that they're bad. If somebody said, hey, you can stay there overnight, we'd do it. You can't just walk into it. They do have external gated areas so that, allows for the privacy of people who are in those bungalows. You also have a deck that has some area to be outside as well, and they have I think they call it the dive pool. It's small, but you can jump into.
There's no diving into it
right now. You just kind of jump in and just cool off.
Yes, that's it. A nice little place to cool off for sure.
Yeah.
Look great.
Right. But cute theming. More of a I don't know. I think it looked more like a 70s Hawaiian kind of theming.
Sure, which makes sense.
Yeah. The other resorts that they have there, but whether, they're vacation clubs or regular hotel resort rooms. They all have different types of views in terms of, whether they're near the gardens or pools or more water views and things like that. So it really just depends on, what you're looking for in terms of not just a view, but the conveniences. So the vacation club rooms, they don't have like 1 bedroom or 2 bedrooms like other DVC resorts have. So their studio is larger, and it has more space for kind of like 2 separate bathroom areas so that you can have multiple people getting ready. It is larger, and hey, who can argue with being around a place that has tiki lamps going on at night?
Yeah, they seem like they magically light every night, and then they run well late into the evening, which I didn't know that they were lit for so long.
Right.
I know waking up in the middle of the night and looking out and still seeing them lit outside was kind of cool.
Yes. So even if you don't get a water view, like if you get, just kind of like a garden view, there also, again, it's a very spacious, lush, tropical feel, and it just is a cool place to be.
Yeah. Feels like you're on a little bit of a Polynesian vacation there in Florida in the Walt Disney World Resort.
Right. Kind of like very immersive.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, and the last one we already talked about a little bit with some of the views there. All of the views, no matter which way you're going, in terms of staying at the Fort Wilderness Resort, the views are sweet, very nature, and it isn't unusual that you might see animals around. They're not going to come up to you. It's not like a scary, but you could be looking around and seeing a deer or obviously ducks and, other types of animals.
We've seen many deer out there.
Oh,
many
deer.
Almost every time we've stayed there, we've seen many deer.
Right. So if you're staying in the campground itself, so whether you're bringing a tent or renting one of their tents, which they will put up if you want to pay for them to put them up as well, or if you have, a cabin, a trailer or an RV or something like that, you really do have a lot of trees around. So it kind of really helps divide from the person that's, camping next to you. So that makes it really nice. They have what they call comfort stations that have available for showering and other bathroom facilities there in case you're staying someplace that doesn't have that self-contained. And they're really nice and kept clean, and they really were very convenient.
Right. And they have, like the general store, some of their, if you go to any of the resorts that have DVC rooms there, a lot of times if you go into some of their shops, they will have a little bit more grocery wise, because knowing that DVC's members at least have a kitchenette, if not a full kitchen. Right. They may need a few extra things. Well, they do that as well at Fort Wilderness because they know that a lot of people are camping, so they're going to want to pick up a lot of different foods that they might be used for camping as well. And they also have a great restaurant that serves excellent. I mean, one, you can go and sit down in it at the trail's end, but also P&J's Takeout, which has great stuff that you can just grab there, fried chicken, pizza, all sorts of different things like that, and just take them right back to your campsite for everybody to enjoy as well. Yeah, so they really do make it very easy for families who are there, whether you're camping, glamping or camping. Right. Now, the one thing about that location is that if you're not bringing your own car, or you have a golf cart that you rented or brought your own, then you will have an extra transportation to deal with, because there are buses that run throughout the resort. So often if you're trying to go to one of the theme parks, it's either, walk out to one of the bus stops, grab a bus, take that to another location, and either grab a boat to Magic Kingdom, or take a bus to, Epcot or the studios or Animal Kingdom Park or wherever else you may be going. So there is that extra transportation thing that you should know going in. But other than that, it's really, really great. Yeah. So, I mean, they do have, like Tom's describing, what they call the internal loops, where buses come and pick people up and go to either, go to the store, one of the or both of the stores, and then to an area where you could take other transportation to a park.
but they really do have it convenient. They come pretty frequently. They're air conditioned, the big air conditioned buses. So, it's great in that regards. And a lot of times the bus driver, depending on, what time of day, if it's really busy or not, if it's just, sometimes like you might be the only one in the bus, they'll have to stop if somebody's at one of the other, loops that they're picking up from. But if there isn't anybody and they know which loop you're going to, they'll expedite that for you.
Right. As much as they possibly can.
Right. So, but going back to the cabins, again, Tom's described them pretty well in terms of a lot of the conveniences. One of the things that we didn't mention yet, but we may have mentioned it other times, is that they have an amazing porch. And it has a very large picnic table there. It has a grill that you can do charcoal grilling on, and they will clean it for you. So you don't have to deal with the cleanup afterwards.
And you can buy charcoal, just like I said,
right.
At the general store there, they have charcoal bags that fit perfectly into that
right.
location.
Yeah, you just light it.
Yep, you're good to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, they'll even give you matches.
That's true. So, we have some really special memories there. One of them wasn't too long ago. Obviously, it was before COVID, though, was that we invited family over, and we were able to have, we did some grilling. We cooked some things inside the kitchen and just had a really nice picnic feast. And it was really great. We had some kids there with us, some of our nieces and nephews and things. And they were really enjoying going out and picking up different leaves and, showing us different things that they were finding. And it was just really fun to do, but lovely to see from a kid's eye how much they can appreciate what's out there in nature and get excited about it. And so I loved that experience. What was your thought?
Yeah, the wilderness must be explored, right?
That's right.
And that's exactly what they were doing, because you have these areas that are just is the wilderness. You're out in the middle.
Right.
Yes, there are these cabins right next to them. If you go by to the tents and the RVs, they are around there, but there is enough space and there is enough trees and bushes and everything else that you get cool places to kind of tromp around in carefully.
Right.
Obviously, there are animals out there, but it's relatively safe, but it's just kind of cool. And again, like you mentioned as well, the fact that in these places have these space with trees and bushes and everything else doesn't make you feel like you're right next door to your neighbor. I mean, even though you kind of are, it feels like you have this just a little bit more private location for you. Yeah.
Most definitely. So, and they do have also a table inside and, by the kitchen area as well. So you could do that, especially, if it was hot, really hot or whatever. But it just gives you a lot of options. Mm-hmm. And again, for families, it's just a phenomenal place to be.
Yeah. Go find pictures of the cabins online, because I know that they're not always cheap, but they're not as expensive as some of the one bedroom suites you get at some of these resorts. And yet you get basically a 1 bedroom suite, and you can curb a little of that because they have almost a full kitchen in there that you can, cut a little bit of the cost of your food by doing some breakfast, some dinners, lunch, whatever you want to do within these spaces. But yeah, they're laid out with a bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, living room. I mean, and the living room has a bed that folds out there and everything.
Right.
So, it's not bad for families, and you can get that kind of space for a little bit lesser price. Again, not cheap, but less than if you're trying to book a 1 bedroom in a lot of the other Disney resorts.
Definitely. That's a great point. They also have a lot of cool activities that you can do on their premises, and I know you get excited about some of those.
Yeah, they have horseback riding there. There's archery. There's all sorts of interesting things going on there. They have carriage rides if you want to do that. And we all love just going around ourselves and just checking out some of the campsites, especially around the holidays, because the people do such a great job decorating the spots that can be kind of your own little excursion as well.
Yeah,
but they also do fishing. And some other things
they do the catch and release fishing. You could rent canoes or kayaks to go along their little river there. Biking and jogging trails are great there. And if you're traveling, you're not traveling with all your gear, you can rent bicycles and So gives you a lot of options outside of just being in the park. It's one of those great places if you're not getting passes for each day that you're going into the park, that you can find things to do. It's just so nice and peaceful. It is really that home away from all the activities of the park.
Yeah, and just like other resorts, they do have 2 pools there.
Right.
One that's a little quieter, one that's a little more boisterous with a water slide and everything. But just like you would think at other resorts,
Right.
Like basketball hoops we've seen
Yep.
there. You can go shoot some hoops if you're there with the kids or whatever.
Right.
Get a little energy burnt off at
That's
some point.
true. Yeah, on the beach that is near the boat that goes to Magic Kingdom, that's a great place to watch the fireworks. You can get a really good view of the fireworks. Like you mentioned with some of the other things, you don't get to see really the projections onto the buildings, but you get a really great view of the fireworks. They do pump in the music.
Mm-hmm.
So and the kids like being out on the sand beach
Mm-hmm.
while you're watching it. So it's a great location.
Yeah, also you could do that. Obviously they still have the boats that go back and forth from the Magic Kingdom, but they also have little boats that go to the Wilderness Lodge and to the
Right.
Contemporary Resort. So if you want to do a little resort hopping when that is okay,
Yeah.
again, you can just hop on a little boat and head to the Wilderness Lodge.
Yeah.
Go to Geyser Point Grill or whatever there.
Right.
Or, if you want to go to the Contemporary and check out some of the stuff they have there or whatever, that's another way to do it as well.
That's true. And one of their walking trails does take you over to Wilderness Lodge. So that's another option that you have as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyways, that's kind of our recap of the OG resorts that were available at near the time that the Magic Kingdom opened in October of 1971. We gave you some information there. If you have experiences you want to share, we'd love to talk about those as well.
Yes, very much so. So please hit us up on a Gmail account, social media, however you want to do it. We would love to share your experiences, what resorts you love. If you have some interesting stories about the history of these resorts, what's your favorite view, whatever, send them to us and we'll share them on an upcoming show.
That's right.
Yes. So again, Michelle always does the best research. Another great look at our countdown to Walt Disney World's 50th birthday. This one, part 4, Room with a View. Can't wait for part 5 because these are really, really fun. Michelle always has interesting stuff that I didn't know before going in. So.
Thank you, sweetie. I appreciate that. Well, hope everybody enjoyed it.
Yes, very much so. All right, so Michelle's information was so interesting. We're running long. Shocker.
Sorry.
Let's get to we have a lot of Disney stories of the week to get to, so let's get right to them. Again, Michelle, great job, by the way.
Thank you.
We're going to start with, we received some interesting information about what to expect at the Disney parks and cruise line this holiday season as Disney celebrated halfway to the holidays.
Nice.
They did that, what was it, halfway to Halloween a couple months ago. They did halfway to the holidays this week.
Right.
We got some interesting stuff that came through from the Disney Parks blog. It's official. The merry season will begin November 12th at the Walt Disney World Resort during the world's most magical celebration marking the resort's 50th anniversary. So you're going to have 50th anniversary. You're going to have holiday season. What could be better at the Walt Disney World Resort, right? So they say festive entertainment, whimsical decor, seasonal food and drinks, and holiday-themed merchandise will all be a part of this very special season at their theme parks, Disney Resort Hotels, and Disney Springs. So they gave us this little sneak peek. They said holidays are sure to be enchanting at Magic Kingdom Park, where quintessential decorations will return to Main Street, USA. When the sun sets, special holiday projections will appear most nights on Cinderella Castle, alternating periodically with the castle's transformation into a beacon of magic. Ooh. A great way to celebrate the holidays and the 50th anniversary of the Walt Disney World Resort. Pretty cool.
I know. Looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Now, talk about an early holiday gift. This is from them, not from me. The early holiday gift from Disney. Disney's very merriest after hours, a new special ticketed event will debut on November 8th before all the rest of the festive fun. It will be available on select nights through December 21st. The 4 hours of festivities will delight guests with Minnie's wonderful Christmas time fireworks. We saw those just a couple years ago, and they're adorable.
And they're great. Yep.
As you would expect from Minnie, she's going to put on an adorable show. Disney characters throughout the park, holiday music and decor, treats included, and so much more. As with other Disney After Hours events, a limited number of tickets will be sold for this event. And tickets will go on sale next month. They didn't give an exact date, with an early purchase window available for guests of select Walt Disney World Resort. So if you have a stay booked during that time, you might want to check to see if you have that early window for where, depending on where you're staying. Moving on, Sunset Seasons Greetings returns to Disney's Hollywood Studios as the Hollywood Holiday Tower Hotel on Sunset Boulevard will twinkle once again with the projection effects, magically transforming it into a snowy corner of Arendelle. Oh, hashtag real men love Frozen. Also a Muppets gingerbread masterpiece, a Toy Story toy hotel, and a Dickensian village inspired by Mickey's Christmas Carol, which is always great as well. This holiday show will also alternate with the tower's nightly transformation also into the beacon of magic. So that's really cool. Yeah. Santa Claus will bring some North Pole cheer to a motorcade down Hollywood Boulevard. You will also want to be able to enjoy for the first time in forever a Frozen sing-along celebration. Hashtag real men love Frozen. With its festive finale featuring everyone's favorite snowman, Olaf. Minnie Mouse is also returning to host her festive meal at Hollywood and Vine at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Minnie and her friends will be donning their holiday best. Even Santa Goofy will be there. I love Santa Goofy. And throughout the season, vintage-themed holiday decor will shine bright across the park. As far as Disney's Animal Kingdom Park, there will be holiday time there for them as well, with the return of seasonal decor and festive Disney character flotillas, which are always fun as well. Sailing down Discovery River to the sounds of joyful songs of the season. The park centerpiece, of course, the Tree of Life, becomes another beacon of magic most nights during the 50th anniversary celebration. However, during the holiday season, there's even more magic inspired by nature, as the holiday edition of the Tree of Life Awakenings also takes place most nights. So that's kind of cool.
Yes.
The Disney Resort Hotels are back at it as well. They'll be decked out for the holidays with iconic trees again, with other seasonal touches. And yes, the guest favorites will return this year. This select gingerbread displays will once again be part of the holiday season. Also at select resorts, you will find restaurants offering holiday menus and specialty food and drink. So glad the gingerbread houses are coming back.
Right. That was my exciting news reading that.
Yeah. I'm hoping that they open it more up for resort hopping by that time, because I mean, that's the big thing, is being able to go to these different resorts and check out the trees and check out the gingerbread houses and everything. And I know it's kind of limited right now. You can sort of do it, sort of not do it. But hopefully by that point, we're at a space where they feel comfortable that we can get back to where you can go from resort to resort and check all this stuff out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Also, the Epcot International Festival of the Holidays, presented by Advent Health, will return this year from November 26th through December 30th, with holiday kitchens from around the park, performances by the Voices of Liberty, and the guest favorite cookie stroll, and more. So that's cool. Yeah. But it wasn't just the Disney parks that are having the fun with the holidays that hit up for this halfway to
the
holidays time. Disney Cruise Line also got involved as well. They've said that from early November through December, the Disney Cruise Line fleet will be decked out bow to stern with holiday cheer and entertainment during their very maritime cruises, which we happen to be booked on. So we're excited about.
Yes.
Holiday magic is unwrapped for the whole family with festive holiday decor, favorite characters in their finest holiday attire, and a special visit from none other than Santa Claus. And this extends even to Castaway Cay, which will have some special tropical holiday theming going on there as well.
Awesome.
So lots of stuff to look forward to this holiday season.
Yeah, it looks like they're really, bringing things back in a big way, and can't wait to experience all those different touches that they're going to have around.
Right. So we'll definitely have that Disney cruise scheduled for right around Christmas time. We'll probably try and get some sort of stay, at least a day or two, maybe at the Walt Disney World Resort, just to at least check out some of the decor and everything else. Don't know if we'll do the party, but we'll definitely want to check out like the Festival of the Holidays. That would complete the quad this year, the cycle of we will have done every festival this year.
Right.
If we go do the Festival of the Holidays, we did the Festival of the Arts, we did the Flower and Garden, we're about to do Food and Wine.
Right.
And then we could hit up even if it's just one day for the Festival of the Holidays, and we will have hit the cycle. We're like Jake Cronenworth with the Padres last night, hitting for the cycle of the festivals. So we may have to check that out for sure.
That would be great. Yes.
Moving on to Disney Plus, a ton of Disney Plus content received worthy accolades this week. This from D23.com. Television's biggest night is right around the corner, and the Walt Disney Company proudly secured an impressive 166 nominations for the 73rd Primetime Emmy Awards. 166 nominations.
That's pretty cool.
That's amazing. That includes stuff from Hulu, not just Disney Plus. That's stuff from Hulu as well, but probably ESPN as well. But that's really cool, and ABC and everything else. But the company's nominations span 85 categories and 38 titles, and the winners will be revealed on September 19th. If you're wondering when that's going to happen, so I'm not going to name all the 166 nominations, but I did want to go through some key ones here. We'll start with The Mandalorian, which garnered 24 nominations, including Outstanding Drama Series. That's
Very
really
good.
cool. Yeah. Also, they received a nomination for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series for Giancarlo Esposito, Outstanding Guest Actor for both Carl Weathers and Timothy Oliphant, and Outstanding Directing for Disney legend Jon Favreau. So,
nice.
Very cool. Favorite here in our household, Marvel Studios' WandaVision received 23 honors, including a nomination for Outstanding Limited or Anthology Series. And they also received nominations for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Limited or Anthology Series for Wanda herself, Elizabeth Olsen. Outstanding Lead Actor for Vision himself, Paul Bettany. And Outstanding Supporting Actress for Catherine Hahn, of course, Agatha all along. So that's really cool. Another favorite in our household, Hamilton, secured 12 total nominations, including 2 nods for Outstanding Lead Actor Lin-Manuel Miranda and Leslie Odom Jr.
Very cool.
Also for Outstanding Supporting Actor for David Diggs, Anthony Ramos, and Jonathan Groff. And Outstanding Supporting Actress for Philippa Sue and Renee Elise Goldsberry, of course, Eliza and Angelica.
Right.
And a nomination for Outstanding Variety Special pre-recorded. So that's really great news.
Yeah.
Just a few more to go through here. Marvel Studios' The Falcon and the Winter Soldier scored 5 nominations, including 1 for Don Cheadle, who is up for the Outstanding Guest Actor in a Drama Series. This one's fun. Maggie Simpson in The Force Awakens from its nap received a nomination for Outstanding Short Form Animated Program. Hashtag Real Men Love Frozen. Well, Once Upon a Snowman received a nomination also for Outstanding Short Form Animated Program, and The Simpsons themselves, the whole show, for Outstanding Animated Program. But so many great nominations, and we're so happy for the Disney company, but especially a lot of these Disney Plus shows.
Right. Yeah. And the people that, do a lot of work. And obviously we know a lot of the big names and the stars, but it does take, the village to do all this. And there's a lot of great people behind that, bringing success and things that people really love.
Yeah. I mean, there's 166 nominations. I did most of the key categories with people that you would know within them, but there's a lot of nominations for some very talented people who did a great job as you're mentioning there, Michelle, behind the scenes. They don't get the big bill on you have to watch them in the credits, but they do the hard work to make sure that these shows are everything you want them to be.
Yes. So well said.
Yes. So moving on, we told you last week about a brand new Disneyland ticket offer for those of us here in the Golden State that we happen to be taking advantage of this week. Well, there's also a terrific new Walt Disney World offer for those of you in the Sunshine State.
Nice.
Yeah. This again from the Disney Parks blog. They say, we're excited to share details of our Florida resident summer ticket offer for this year, available now for use through September 17th. Florida residents can enjoy the magic happening throughout the theme parks for $54 per day plus tax with their 4-day Florida resident summer fun ticket. Total price is $215 for that ticket. Again, you don't have to use them in consecutive days. Nice. You just have to use them up by September 17th. But $54 per day, that's a pretty crazy
cool
price.
Yeah, that is great.
They also have a park hopper option that gives you the opportunity to visit more than one theme park per day. And it's $35 more per ticket for that. They have a water park and sports option, which allows you to visit a water park or a golf course or a miniature golf course on each day of your ticket. That's $30 more per ticket. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The water park option I've heard before.
Right.
I've never heard them throwing in an actual golf or miniature golf into it. So that's kind of interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. They also have a Park Hopper Plus option, which grants you the ability to visit more than one theme park per day, plus enjoy access to the water park, golf course, or miniature golf course on each day. That's a lot to get in.
Right.
We're going to 2 theme parks, a water park, and playing a round of golf and a round of miniature golf all in one day.
That'd be a bit much.
I've heard of people trying to do the hit all the attractions in one day, that challenge. I want to see somebody hit all the attractions, plus play a round of golf, plus a round of miniature golf, and then hit the water park as well. Somebody who accomplishes that, we want to have you on the show to describe how you possibly did that. By the way, there's also, did I say that was $50 more per ticket, by the way. There's also a 2-day ticket offer that starts at $75 per day, which is $150 per ticket, and a 3-day offer that begins at less than $62 per day. So that is $186 per ticket. So if you don't feel like you can make 4 days, maybe one of those fits you better, but they're all great deals.
Yeah, that's exciting news, and glad that they're, coming out with more options for residents in different areas of the country.
Yeah, very cool. And again, if you don't have an annual pass or whatever, or you're waiting to try and get an annual pass again, take advantage of these ticket offers. And by the way, if you purchase these tickets a lot of times and the annual passes do come available, a lot of times they'll put that money that you have left on that towards your annual pass. So I can't guarantee that, but they do that quite often. So just know that if you're thinking about buying these tickets. So finally, if you do take advantage of that offer, or if you're just going to the Walt Disney World Resort, there's another fun option for guests returning to the most magical place on earth. And this is actually from a Plan Disney Instagram post. I hadn't heard that this is happening until they posted it on Plan Disney on Instagram. They said fireworks cruises are back at the Walt Disney World Resort. Yeah. They say whether you're sailing Seven Seas Lagoon for a unique view of Happily Ever After or voyaging to World Showcase Lagoon for an up-close look at Epcot Forever, these private charters are a great way to celebrate anything with your family. These are what they're talking about is not the group one, not the pirate one we were talking earlier. These are the ones that you book on kind of those party barge, little flat boats, the pontoon boats, and they take you out there, and you can just, you get a group of friends, get your family together, and you go out and you have a good time watching the fireworks. It's not a long trip out there, but it's a great view, and oftentimes it's an interesting way a different way to experience these fireworks.
Right. And it, like you said, with family or friends, you could be doing that as part of a celebration, whether it be an anniversary or birthday or some, recognition of something, or just a family reunion. And it just could be really a special way to kind of cap off that day.
Right. We've seen them decking out the boats in, decorations for
Right.
celebrations or whatever. And they can have snacks. You can have drinks on board. I don't know about alcoholic beverages, but soft drinks on board and whatever. But just interesting way if you want to splurge a little bit on something special. Not a bad way to go. Now, these depart from Disney's Yacht and Beach Club to experience the Epcot Forever. Or if you want to sail and see Happily Ever After, you can do that from the Contemporary, Polynesian, Grand Floridian, Fort Wilderness, and the Wilderness Lodge marinas is where they come from. And the prices start at $399 plus tax. So like I said, not cheap, but you get a bunch of people together, or if you have a good family or whatever, special occasion, might be cool. That's for a 25-foot boat. And if you want to reserve this private cruise, they say to call 407-939-7529. Again, 407-939-7529.
Yeah. So like you've mentioned, we've kind of watched those go out from the Bay Lake Tower when we've stayed there, and like you said, decorating the boats and everything. It just is really a very fun experience. Like I said, to kind of watch the fireworks and be with people that you love. Yes, for sure. And it's just a different experience, a little private, top-notch, top-line experience, just kind of a cool thing to do. So if you have the money, feel like splurging on something special, pretty cool. Yeah, go for it. Finally, we wrap up the Disney stories of the week with some news of some dining options returning soon to the Disneyland Resort.
Yes.
Back to the Disney Parks blog for this. You will soon be able to begin your Disneyland day with character dining once again. Yes. This is happening at 2 locations. The Minnie and Friends breakfast at the Plaza Inn, which we've done before, and that's a lot of fun. Definitely. That's at the Disneyland Park itself. And Mickey's Tales of Adventure breakfast at Storytellers Cafe at Disney's Grand Californian Hotel and Spa. That will also be hosted by some of your favorite Disney pals. Now, the Plaza Inn one for the Mickey and Friends breakfast, that opens August 12th. They say bookings will be available soon, but they didn't give a date on that. For the Storytellers Cafe and Mickey's Tales of Adventure breakfast, that will be daily breakfast on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and brunches from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And that is opening up quicker. That is opening up on July 22nd with bookings available on July 20th. So this week, this is all that's happening for that one. So if you're interested in doing that, now these will be a little different than the character dining you've experienced in the past. They may be not quite coming up to you and giving you a hug. There'll be a little more distance. These in the past have been buffets. It looks like they're going to do even more of a set menu on these. They said to click on the link, look at the menu. I tried. It didn't go to the right place, so I don't know exactly, but go look up for the information so you know more on that. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're doing the same safeguards that they've implemented at Walt Disney World for some of the meals with characters there. Yeah, so you can check there, but I'm sure they'll be updating the Disneyland website as well with the information on there. A couple other places that are opening up soon. The Golden Horseshoe at Disneyland Park is opening up on July 29th. And the the upstairs portion of Carthay Circle restaurant. So that will be opening up this week as well, July 22nd, with bookings available again on July 20th. So if you have a trip to Disneyland coming up, you want to dine at Carthay Circle in the upstairs, back like the good old days, that's opening up for you. Yeah, that's, again, really exciting news. And, there's been such a need for more dining things at Disneyland. And so this is great that those additional options are going to be there. For sure. So that's great news. So that's it for the Disney stories of the week. However, we never leave you without giving you some sort of tip that might help you on your next vacation. And always we start with Michelle because she has the best research. She has the best lists. She has the best stories, but she definitely has the very best tips, except for in one of those Loki timelines we saw this week. One of those timelines, I think I had the best tips. All the rest of them that are branching off in various different directions, all Michelle. Let's get to Michelle's tip of the week. You're hilarious. Well, thank you. So my tip is related to, since I did the resorts was related to Fort Wilderness Campgrounds, and just two things to kind of keep in mind and handle if you're planning to stay at one of those, related to, for example, if you're bringing a pet. You really want to make sure you're notifying them in advance so that you are staying at a pet-friendly loop or cabin. And the other part of that is when it comes to decorating, we talked about with the parades for the golf carts. Well, some people like decorating their golf carts or their cabins even without a parade. The Disney company is pretty liberal with what they allow for you, but they do have some regulations. And so if you're planning to do that, just recommend that you look at their website to see what those specific regulations are, because you really wouldn't want to have your experience be tainted by somebody having to come to you and, knock on your door or whatever and tell you. Like I said, we've seen a lot of things. They're very, very liberal, but, they do have some things that they do for people's comfort and things that they don't allow. And so you'd want to know about those in advance.
Very good. Yeah, definitely. Be sure and check on some of these things. But yeah, I mean, we've seen many of a room, not just the campgrounds or whatever, but actual rooms, resorts with balconies or whatever decked out for the holiday season, whichever one it would be, whether it be Halloween, whether it be 4th of July, whether it be the holiday season itself. It's a lot of fun, and so, the kids get involved and you can decorate and everything. But yeah, you want to know what is okay and what's not, for sure.
Right. I mean, most of the things relate to, issues of safety or, what could be perceived as, something might be offensive to some people. So again, they're really liberal. There's just a few things, but just something you'd want to know.
Very good. Michelle's tip. Always the best tip, except for that one timeline. All the rest, Michelle's the best tips.
Too funny.
My tip for this week, look, we just heard a couple weeks ago about the return of in-person Run Disney races. Recently opened up for the Wine and Dine half marathon weekend. Hopefully, if you were looking to go to that, you got your race that you wanted. I think there maybe still be a couple spots left available for some. I was going to check before we got on the air, but I forgot to. So if you're thinking about going to that one, go check it out. But also, I wanted to bring this up mostly because there's some of you out there who maybe have thought about doing a Run Disney race and you're like, I'm not a runner. I don't know if I want to run, but those sound pretty cool. And I'm going to tell you, they are pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not very often that you get to go and experience the parks before it opens and go run, walk through it, whatever. And I want to tell you that you don't need to feel just because you're not a runner that you can't do these things. I mean, I'm not going to tell you that they're inexpensive. They're not. But they're an incredible experience.
Yes.
We've done many of them and we love them, and we're still willing to pay a lot of money to go do them again. And we're excited to pay more money to do them again. There's a reason why these races sell out.
Right. I mean, the other thing too, you may be somebody who typically runs and that's your normal activity or lifestyle. And then there's those, myself included, who really need the motivation. So whether it be just because of the fun theming and the funness of it, plus the expense, that it really can help generate that kind of enthusiasm to have that self-motivation to get into that type of activity. And I did that this week. I made a commitment that I'm going to get back to running. And so these races can really help be a motivating factor. If you know you're going to have a race, then it really, it makes you think about doing that and becoming part of your routine.
Right. So here's the thing with them. Definitely, Michelle is absolutely correct with that. Part of the things that inspire us to get out and get more exercise is the fact that we know that we want to be in shape for some of these things. But here's the thing about it. I mean, if you've never done one before, maybe you sign up for one of the 5Ks coming up, whether it be the Walt Disney World, the Princess, the Springtime Surprise, whatever the theme ends up with that one being, which is, I think, the one that we're going to end up doing, by the way. The next one we're going to be doing, maybe the Princess, probably the Springtime Surprise. But here's the thing about it, especially with the 5K, because they're pretty liberal on letting you go through this thing. Now, what they'll tell you is that you need to be doing a 16-minute mile, essentially. So you're completing each mile on an average of 16 minutes. That may sound a little bit daunting, but I'm here to tell you that it's not really. And by the way, when you go to the parks, I guarantee you most times you're walking more than 5Ks
Right.
in the parks, 3.1 miles through the park. So it's not like you've never walked through the parks, walked this kind of distance before. You can walk most of this race if you really want to do it.
Yeah.
You know, when you go out and walk, if you're just walking at a pretty normal pace, for most people, you're walking at about 3.2 to 3.4 miles per hour. Okay. If you can bump that up to about 3.8 miles per hour, you're within that 16 minute per mile threshold. Okay. So it really isn't that much more. All you have to do is maybe jog a little bit here and there, maybe quicken up your pace a few times, whatever,
Right.
you know, and give yourself a little bit more buffer. So if you want to take more pictures, stop, whatever, get a drink of water, anything you want to do. It's not that difficult to accomplish. And like I said, they're a little more liberal on the 5K than maybe the 10K and definitely the half marathon. But it is easy. It is easily accomplished. You can do this. I suggest you go out and give it a shot if you've ever thought about doing it and seeing how much fun. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a one and done for you, but maybe you'll be hooked just like we are.
Right.
And maybe it'll get you to go and be inspired to do a little more, to take that next step, do the 10K, do the half marathon. I'm not going to tell you you're going to do the marathon, but you know, do a little bit more and get yourself a little bit healthier and have a good time at the same time.
Yeah, very well said. And, you know, I don't think you'll be disappointed. I mean, it's not the easiest thing to do or, you know, or just conceive of it if you haven't done any kind of racing before. But as Tom mentioned, you know, the 5K, you really don't need to run. Because they actually do along the way have places where you can stop and get some, you know, selfies, some great photo ops and things like that. So they do know that people are going to take time to do that. And the other thing is, this is not the race you want to try to get your best time in. You just want to go to experience it and to have the fun of being in a really unique location to do your run. So.
Yeah, there are plenty of locations in your own, you know, city, neighborhood, whatever,
Right.
where you can pay, you know, less than half the price of a Disney run to go and try and set your personal record, you know, set your pre-R. But if you're at the Disney race, go out there, have a good time, enjoy yourself as much as you can, having exercise in the morning, because that's what it's about. And I'm telling you, when you get out there and the energy that is out from all these people, it really is fun.
It's infectious. It's great.
The energy is great. And I highly suggest you give it a shot at some point, and then you can decide for yourself from there.
Right. Good. So, well said.
There we go. So that's it for this week. Next week, well, as we mentioned, we're leaving tomorrow. We're going to be back at the Disneyland Resort. We're going to check out a bunch of the new stuff that's opened up. We're staying at the Disneyland Hotel, which is recently refurbished. So we're going to tell you all about that, what we thought of the rooms since how they've changed since the last time we've been there. Other things that are going on, Mickey's PhilharMagic is adding that new Coco scene. We're planning on going to Disney California Adventure and seeing that. So we'll tell you what we thought about that. The reimagined Jungle Cruise is just opened up. We'll be sailing on that hopefully on Monday. So we'll be telling you what our thoughts are on that. Mickey's Mixed Magic is back. Nighttime Spectacular back at Disneyland. We're going to check that out for sure. And we're going to also go back and revisit Avengers Campus, tell you what we think of it as a difference from when we were there, you know, a few weeks ago on opening day to how it is now. And maybe experience some things we didn't get to check out on opening day as well.
Right. And some of the restaurants and lounges that reopened at Disneyland Hotel that we're looking forward to checking out. Trader Sam's.
Yes, for sure. So we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about that on next week's show. So as for today, we appreciate that you joined us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventurespodcast.com. And while you're there,
please click on that accept for joining the newsletter group.
Please click on the accept, enter in your email address, and then you will be signed up for our brand new newsletter for each week that we send out. And it's just another way to be involved in the Hyperion Adventures podcast world.
Yes.
And if you also want to be involved in our world, you can follow us on social media. We're on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We have our Hyperion Adventurers Facebook group where we're having a lot of fun interacting with people out there. Please sign up for that as well. We are on YouTube. If you want to see our videos there, just do a quick search for our Hyperion Adventures Podcast. Hit subscribe and you'll know whenever we have a new video. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and feel free to share with us some of your opinions of the show or some ideas or recommendations of things you'd like us to look into.
Yes, if you have any topics you'd like us to discuss, we'd be happy to do that as well. We'd love to hear from you in whatever way, shape, or form. That's it. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week. Until that time, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope that you have a magical week.
Bye.